Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Episode 9, I think, right?
I think we made this mistake. Yep, it is 9.
Yeah, it's 9 because last one was 8 of Two Guys Drink. And guess what? We're actually on track. This is the 2 weeks in a row now.
We're back. Told you, we're back.
We're fully back. So we're excited about that. This is the show where we escape our families and drink whiskey and talk about just random topics. So.
See, we've changed the rule. We said Two Guys Drink. Now it's just we should rename it to Two Guys Drink Whiskey.
Right, pretty much, because that's all we've had. We're going to try every whiskey on the face of the earth, I guess, at this point.
On that note, thank you to our unofficial sponsors, Tincup.
Which was brought to you by me because I lost a bet from last week.
That is true. Now he owes 3 whiskeys in a row. Right. Nonetheless, there was a tin cup on the top. It seems to be missing.
I stole it. It's going to be my new shot glass.
It's not even on the table.
Nope. We got red stole cups.
Nonetheless, before we do the shot of whiskey here, yes. Do you remember the movie Tincup?
I do remember the movie Tincup.
I haven't seen it
in a very long time.
It was a pretty good golf movie.
Yes, it was a good golf movie. Yeah. I should probably go back and rewatch it soon.
I haven't watched it in a while either, but it was definitely a pretty good golf movie.
It's probably been like 10, 15 years since I've seen it.
Yeah, probably about it. Unless I've seen it on TV and it was randomly on.
I did just rewatch, not to get too far off topic, but I did just rewatch Step Brothers the other day. And, I'm going to put my nuts on your drum stack. I just want you to know that. I was going to make your drum stack.
I was going to make a comment, but I'm not even going there. All right. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. It's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
I bet it would be better on ice. I have found out that most whiskeys are better on ice these days.
So before we get into our conversations, Mr. Hoover over here did come over to my house. We did watch the draft together.
Ate some delicious pizza.
Yeah. Dough Bar. If you're in Pittsburgh, go to Dough Bar. Dough Bar, great pizza.
Great pizza. Thumbs up. We should do our show from the Dough Bar back room. We'll get Donnie's approval.
I was going to say, let's get Donnie in it.
Yeah, we'll get Donnie in it. We'll get it in the back room. We'll get his approval.
No, that's the next phase. Anybody out there wants us to do our show from your place? Get on YouTube.
Yeah.
By all means.
Yeah,
let us know.
Let's do it.
No, great pizza. We drank whiskey.
We drank whiskey.
We had a third musketeer there.
I was trying to get her here tonight, but
that night she said she was going to be here.
She made excuses again.
Laura
Jack. Making excuses. She's good for those excuses.
You watch the show, so yes, we're calling you out.
Yeah, we're calling you out. She says she will be here next week, but I'm not holding my breath.
You hear that, people? Listen.
I'm not holding my breath because then I'll die, and the world would be a sad place.
We don't want that to happen.
Without me.
We don't want that to happen. All right.
So we are going to get into NFL draft recap. Clearly, I lost the bet, but it's not my fault because it's the Jaguars. I believe the Jaguars drafted him. It was either Jaguars or the Panthers drafted my draft pick right before the Cowboys pick came up.
No, the Panthers took J.C. Horn. Who was the one right before you guys? Denver, the Broncos.
Oh, yeah, the Broncos took Surtain. You're right. My bad. So right before us, Surtain was off the board. So the Cowboys did the smart thing, traded back, and landed the best linebacker in the draft.
So here's where I'm going to call you a liar in this situation. It is your own fault. You were wrong because our draft was based off what we think our team was going to do. And yes, your team may have done that, but your team couldn't because that pick didn't make it there. That's your own choice. You thought that's what was going to happen, so that was your choice.
I mean, honestly, Surtain made it in every mock draft I saw, Surtain made it to the Cowboys.
I'm not going to lie to you. My one right pick, which is why I won the bet, was the Najee Harris in the first round, which was everybody's pick for the Steelers for the most part.
That's because your team's the only one dumb enough to draft a running back in the first round.
The next pick went Travis Etienne.
Okay, so there's two different You don't draft first round running backs.
And who was the third one? The third one went at the beginning of the second round, I want to say, the North Carolina guy, Javonte Williams.
Yeah, he went in the
beginning of the second or something like that.
Yeah, it was like pick 7 of the second.
Yeah, he was first 10 picks of the second round. Nonetheless, Steelers needed a running back. They needed a playmaker to go with Ben and the rest of the receiver crew. They got a running back.
But we also have to tip our hats to Jerry, right? Because
credit.
He traded the pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. And what most people were saying is, I can't believe he traded the division rivals. But what most people didn't realize is that the exact next pick was the New York Giants, who were going to take the receiver who the Eagles wanted. And Jerry's like, I think the Giants are better than the Eagles, so I'm going to let the Eagles take this receiver, and then we're going to get the linebacker we want. And then the Giants came up and said, "Oh crap, our guy's not here." They traded out, and then
that was our conversation that night. That was literally it. Why would they do that?
Why would they do that? And then you look at it, and it's like, oh, because screw over the Giants. So we worked with one division rival to screw over the other one.
My favorite part about that whole deal is for many years now, it's been the Eagles screwing over the Cowboys or the Cowboys screwing over the Eagles when it comes down to CeeDee Lamb last year. Did the Cowboys really need CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, but last year we thought the Eagles were like our best competition.
Correct, but you took CeeDee Lamb.
Now I think if you ask anybody, the Eagles are the least concerning team in the division, right?
And that's why it changed, and now they go after the Giants.
Yeah, it's just And they all try and screw over the Cowboys any chance they get.
I was going to say, the Eagles took, who was it, Dallas Goddard, the tight end, when you guys needed a tight end back then. And they didn't need one. They had Ertz.
And if there's a tight end that should go to the Cowboys, it's Dallas Goddard, right? I mean, his name is anyways. So that was some excitement for my team in the first round. I'm pretty excited about the kid. I watched a lot of tape on him, and he seems like he's really good. Obviously, you got who you wanted because you really wanted that kid.
I wanted Najee Harris.
You wanted Najee Harris? You got him?
Got him.
And
those cheers on that one.
Cheers on that one. I think overall, both our teams did good. The one head-scratching move that your team did was drafting a tight end in the second round when that's clearly not a top need.
It wasn't a top need, but what if he turns out to a Gronk? Which is his nickname, Baby Gronk. So what if he turns into that?
So if he turns into a Baby Gronk?
Yeah.
So, we're talking
10 years down the line.
80% of what Gronk is, or 70%? What's Baby? Is Baby 70%?
I guess 70%.
Yeah, I mean, if he's 70% of Gronk, I think that's going to be a good pick for you guys. But we
didn't need it.
I still think that you could have used offensive line help there. You could have used.
We definitely could have. I'm not disagreeing. I've said it before. I thought we needed that. But the problem was with that pick, so many of the tackles that they could have went after went right off the board right before that pick.
It's the same thing with Dallas trading. The rumors of Dallas trading him to get Pitts. It's like, why? We don't need him. Blake Jarwin is a great tight end. His backup, Dalton Schultz, when he got injured, played great. We have two good tight ends.
Here's my only philosophy with this. We have Ben Roethlisberger more likely for one more year. Maybe two, because they do technically have a 2-year contract, but more likely one. What are you going to do with a 1-year star quarterback who has one chance left? You're going to get him his weapons. You got him a running back, a stud running back. You got him another stud tight end, so now you can run 2 tight ends with his 3 wide receivers. Yeah. And you did get him some line help. You did get him some. You got Green, the lineman, who's going to end up playing center. You got that tackle who probably not going to start this year, but will probably get playing time because he's 6'8", 360 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's a run blocking tackle.
I think overall both our teams did pretty good in the draft. That was just the one head scratching pick to me. I really didn't think you needed that. You got Ebron. He's a hell of a tight end.
Can I tell you who my favorite pick other than Najee Harris? Obviously, you know my love for Najee Harris already.
Okay.
My favorite pick was the punter in the 7th round.
The punter.
Presley Harris.
Okay.
Dude can boot the ball. He can throw 40-yard touchdown passes. They have him on highlights doing it.
Well,
he was the Ray Guy. He's the first black Ray Guy punter winner in college football.
If I have to choose my favorite pick outside of the first round, pretty much, right? Because that's, I mean, if you watch the tape on this kid, he's phenomenal, right? He's clearly one of the best linebackers come out in years. And we just replaced Sean Lee with another Penn State guy, right? Sean Lee retired. I would have to say, out of all the tape I watched, the Simi Fenko guy that they drafted, the receiver that they got in the 5th round. He's 6'4". He's big. He reminds me of the guy in New Orleans, Michael Thomas.
Oh, geez.
And when they did their after draft press conference, Jerry Jones was raving about this guy. Said he has the talent to be the best receiver in the whole draft.
But where is he going to find any playing time on your roster?
Maybe they'll trade Michael Gallup.
Yeah, maybe. I
mean, it's been a rumor because it's the last year of his contract, and they're not. They physically cannot re-sign him.
Yeah, I was gonna say
there's no way they could devote, because he's probably gonna get $10 million a year. There's no way they could devote that kind of money to a receiver when you got Amari Cooper you already paid. You got CeeDee Lamb who's getting 1st round draft pick money for 4 more years. I don't see how. So we're going to need the guy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not this year, but we'll need him eventually.
Down the road.
And honestly, they can move, if the kid is good right away, you put him on the outside, he's 6'4". You put Michael Gallup in the slot, and we got a hell of a 4 wide receiver combo there, right? So I'm pretty excited about that. I knew they were going to draft a receiver. I just thought it was going to be like a small little kick returner dude, and I was completely wrong about that.
Nah, they're going to put Amari Cooper back there again.
But they did draft 8 defensive players,
Nice.
which I think was needed. And not a single one of them had less than a 34-inch reach, which I guess was the new defensive coordinators. Like, that's our one thing that we must have is a 34-inch reach.
My favorite thing was the Steelers literally drafted everything they needed except for a quarterback. And the reason why they didn't draft the quarterback is they couldn't find one at the right time that made sense.
Well, in the second round, there literally was a run of quarterbacks. Like right before the Steelers pick, like 3 quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, because they knew one of them probably would have ended up there.
And they're like, oh, crap, there's no quarterbacks left. So they
I may have got my second one right, how I picked David Mills.
Yep.
I may have got that one.
You may have got that one, except for he was already gone.
He was.
By the time the pick was there.
I will say, talking about the draft, though, I had 2 really, really good moves that I liked in the draft this year. Not related to either one of our teams.
Yeah, I was going to say, we probably should talk about some other teams.
Yep, not related to any of your teams. I really liked what San Fran did with Trey Lance because I was really concerned they were really going to go after Mac Jones. And I thought what they traded up to get for Mac Jones, well, he went after what their pick would have been.
Right.
So that trade would have been pointless at that point.
Exactly.
Trey Lance has all the athletic tools you see in the athletic quarterbacks. And the one thing I didn't know about him is they said he may be the smartest quarterback in the draft.
So that was Mac Jones.
Yeah, well,
that's what everybody has said about Mac Jones. He's the smartest quarterback in the draft. He's got like a
visual,
a photographic memory. Yeah.
Nonetheless, Trey Lance, I'm excited to see him with San Fran with all those weapons and that coaching staff.
Okay.
And the second one was seeing the Chicago Bears trade up to get Justin Fields. Where'd they move to? Pick 12, I think it was.
I like the move there, but did you see the Andy Dalton comment that he was told he is the
he said that when he first signed
when he got signed he said I was told I was going to start.
Cool, you'll start the first snap and then we're going to put Justin Fields in because Andy you can't keep up with this kid.
I mean, I think that it wouldn't be a bad idea to have Justin Fields sit for a year.
What happened when your quarterback went down and you put Andy Dalton in?
You know what? The first couple games were rocky, but like he played really well towards the end of the year. And actually, the last game of the season when we needed a win, I thought Andy. I mean, he played horrible the first like quarter and a half. It was like a rain game, wasn't very good. But then like he really, I mean, his hand was bleeding. He was like all beat up and bruised up, and he played a hell of a game down the stretch. I thought Andy was a very serviceable backup.
I'm sorry. In that division with the Chicago Bears with the defense, I'm giving that athletic quarterback a chance to win some games and make some plays.
I think you gotta give Andy his time. Let him have a couple games, see how he does.
I think he's relegated to backup duty.
I would be very upset if I was Andy Dalton. I signed somewhere specifically because I was going to be the starter.
So here's the deal: you have Matt Nagy, who's underperformed on that team with a rookie quarterback he took, which was Mitch Trubisky. And that was his pick. Mm-hmm. So that's all on him. Do you think this may be...
By the way, he drafted Mitch over Deshaun and over Patrick Mahomes.
So do you think this year is that drawing point for that coach? And that GM who was both, they were a combo pair.
I think they get a couple more years.
I don't. I think they were up on the bar.
I think they've had enough success already that
they have 1 year. Last year they went dropped and they haven't proven on offense.
I mean, if it wasn't for the double doink, they're in the second round of the playoffs the year before. I mean, I think if they had a legit quarterback,
You just said it.
Well, then that's the GM. That's not on the coach.
The coach made the pick. They literally came out and said the coach made the pick. The coach made this pick too. This Justin Fields pick was on the coach.
Wow. I still think you give him time. I think he's done enough in Chicago. He made them a relevant team.
Here's the thing. If he goes with Dalton, I don't think they give him time.
What do I know? Because, I mean, the freaking Eagles coach won a Super Bowl and they fired him 3 years later. I thought a Super Bowl gets you at least 5 years in the NFL.
Nah, unless you're on the Steelers.
Or, I mean, unless you bash Carson Wentz and then you're gone. And then they traded Carson Wentz anyways.
He doesn't want to stay anyways. But after he left, you find out how shitty that system is in Philly.
I have to say, the 49ers and the Bears are your picks. If I'm going to pick who I thought was really smart in the draft. Number one, I have to go Bill Belichick. He sat still and got one of the top 4 quarterbacks at 15.
Well, you know what came out?
No.
He sat still. He planned on moving up. He wanted Justin Fields over Mac Jones. That was his pick. He sat still because he didn't see the Bears skipping in front of him. Huh? So that's how he lost Justin Fields. He thought Justin Fields was going to sit there to his pick.
Right. Which would have been even more genius,
Oh,
right?
geez.
I mean,
he would have just sat there. But he didn't see the Bears move.
See, I think it's like when, let's just say a husband and wife split up after like 30 years together, right? Mm-hmm. The husband automatically is going to go out and want like the exact opposite of what he had for the last 30 years, right?
Except for Belichick.
Like Bill Belichick wanted Justin Fields because he was the exact opposite of what he had. Tom Brady. He's mobile, he's big, he's
but he had
strong,
Cam Newton
he's fast.
last year.
Yeah, that is exactly. He's trying to get the opposite. And then he's sitting there and Mac Jones falls in his lap, which is probably the closest thing to Tom Brady
that we've seen in a while.
We've seen in a while. He just falls right through his lap and you're just like, God damn it. Okay, whatever, we'll take him.
They'll get ticked at me if I don't take a quarterback and there's a quarterback available.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they did great just sitting still and getting one of the top 4 quarterbacks. You can't complain about that if you're a Patriots fan. And then the other team that I thought just had an overall fantastic draft was the New York Jets. I thought they every single pick fits. Every single pick was a need.
I like their draft too.
I think they had a great draft. I really do.
I like the quarterback pick because I thought you have a new coach. You're changing the image of the team. Get that quarterback in. What did Laura say? Laura said, man, that's a hell of a face of a team.
Yeah, right? They'll sell a lot of tickets to ladies because he's attractive, right?
And that fits in New York. That's perfect for New York.
And then, Greeny, obviously, huge Jets fan. And after their third round pick, he was like, the Jets in 3 rounds have already done more for the quarterback they just selected than they did for Sam Darnold for the last 2 seasons, right? Like they've already put more things around this kid.
Yeah, but that's the new coaching staff. That Robert Saleh that they brought in to coach, right. Dude, I can't wait to see him as a coach.
I'd want to play for that guy.
That guy is awesome.
He's energetic. He kind of looks like The Rock a little bit. I'd want to play for that guy.
We joke around about Dan Campbell and eating off kneecaps.
I mean, we don't joke around about that. That's legit. They're going to eat some kneecaps in Detroit.
Okay. Nonetheless, we say about that. And here's the thing. He says about that, and hopefully that's not true because I don't know how players are going to play that way. But Robert Saleh coaching style, he has that leader, man among men kind of image to him. And you just did that. And then the second pick, my actual most important pick I saw, yes, the quarterback's the most important pick. But the one I love the most is they jumped up 10 picks to take the best guard in the draft, Vera Tucker from USC, to protect that quarterback.
And then they got a receiver for him.
I forget the receiver they got. I know they did, but I forget who it is. Elijah Moore or something like that.
Either way, they drafted their quarterback and then they surrounded him with weapons and talent, right? So
didn't they get a run? They got the North Carolina running back. They got Michael Tucker or Michael whatever Carter or something like that or whatever it was, but they got him.
Overall, they had an awesome draft. I have to say the Jets did great. But speaking on the kneecaps thing, like if a Detroit player actually bites a kneecap this year, are we going to be surprised?
Oh man, if somebody doesn't, are we going to be surprised?
I don't know. Do they have any like Ndamukong Suh type players?
What happens if the head coach does it?
What if he just starts running on the field and like biting kneecaps?
What if he gets into it with a ref over some blown call and he bites at the ref?
I don't know. Who knows?
I can see Campbell doing that.
I will be watching some Detroit Lion games this year just for the entertainment of Motor City Dan. All right. So.
Fellow YouTuber, Pat McAfee, please take that coaching staff offer that we saw on your show that they offered you. You would fit perfectly on the staff.
But then we won't have his entertainment of his show.
Oh, he'll still do a show. He's in wrestling. He does color commentary on Fridays in WWE.
Yeah, see, but I think once you're an NFL coach, you do not have the time.
He's going to coach punters. That don't count.
Wow. That is like
he says that for the brand.
That's for the brand. Calling him out.
He said it on his own show.
I think it's a special. I would assume he would have a special teams coach position. And yes, there's a lot to do as a special teams coach.
Maybe special teams, yes.
If he's just a punter coach,
If he's just coaching the punter just to punt the ball.
That's he doesn't need. He can still do a show.
Yes.
But I don't even think there is a such thing as a punter's coach.
You think Dan Campbell won't make up something he wants to do?
I don't know. I think they would give him a special teams coach. The only thing close to a punter's coach is I remember years ago the Dallas Cowboys had a kicker. And I don't remember, it wasn't, oh man, it was a young guy who was really good for a couple years. And then he started missing kicks and they brought in Chris Bonial, the guy who kicked for them in the 90s to be his kicking coach and get him back on track. That was the only time I've ever seen a kicker or punter have a coach.
Well,
and that was a Jerry Jones move. Okay.
That, Dan Campbell could want Pat McAfee that bad that he just wants him on his staff and makes a position for him.
Maybe. Who knows? But
however, McAfee came out the other day and said he wants to be an NFL owner.
I mean, it could happen, I guess, if he makes enough money with his everything else he's doing. Right?
That or he gets enough partners.
Absolutely. So there's one other thing we must talk about that surrounded the NFL draft. Controversy.
A few hours prior to the draft comes out.
And as a Cowboys fan, I would 100% love it if the Green Bay Packers were stupid enough to trade away Aaron Rodgers, because he has constantly been the one sole person who has ruined Cowboys fans. Well, I can't say that because the Cowboys would have won the game that I was watching at your house with the Dez catch, right? We would have won that. I mean, I guess there's
technically, I think
there was
screwed you
a
on that
minute
one.
left, so I guess he could have drove them down to score.
He probably would have.
He probably would have. But the game with Dak Prescott's first playoff game when he did that.
That was the year the Packers ended up beating us in the Super Bowl.
He did that where he was rolling left and just did this ridiculous 40-yard down the field throw to his tight end on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
Most ridiculous. He has just constantly ruined my life as a Cowboys fan. So if he was to get traded to the Denver Broncos, or that's supposedly who was making a big run.
I heard that.
Anywhere outside of the NFC, I would be celebrating. I would be happy. Or if he just gets mad because they didn't trade him and he retires and goes to Jeopardy, I would be extremely happy. I would actually probably rather that. I would rather him just retire and go do Jeopardy.
Watch him be goofy on Jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Okay, I don't like the guy. I personally think that he has when the game gets tough, he's a little baby, and I don't think he's got the right mannerisms to lead a team.
However, he's done a pretty damn good job at it.
Not really. I mean, he's one of the greatest arm talents we've ever seen. He's won one Super Bowl.
Yeah, I guess so.
And he's had a ton of talent around him. You can't say it's not because he doesn't have a good team around him. No, he's had legit one of the best receivers in the National Football League.
Last year he didn't have a defense.
He's had a great offensive line. His defense has been decent over the years, especially in the AJ Hawk years.
How many points did they let up last year in the conference final?
I mean, yeah, whatever.
He's consistently been in the finals, the NFC finals.
NFC Championship.
Yeah, he's consistently been there numerous
and he consistently chokes.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you on that one.
Tom Brady didn't play great in that game either. He just made the throws he had to make at the end and won the game, So
yeah, but the Buccaneers defense played better at that point.
Or did Aaron Rodgers play worse?
Maybe.
I'm just saying, as a Cowboys fan, not because I'm scared that Aaron Rodgers is going to win another Super Bowl or something, because I really don't think he has it in him. I just know that he has it in him to ruin the Cowboys' chances in the playoffs.
I'm certain that there is 22 NFL teams that would love to have Aaron Rodgers on their roster right now.
20. It's probably more like 27.
Maybe I'm lowballing it here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're anybody outside of Seattle, Kansas City.
Seattle may even want to, with Russell Wilson winning out. No, they may even want to at this point.
Because Russ is young, you're right. He's
but he wants out.
In the tank.
But he wants out.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
I would love to have at this point.
I would say there's probably.
And there was actually
5 to 7 teams that would not trade for him.
There was actually a report that the Steelers were one of the teams who called the Packers about him.
They should have.
However, they definitely. I get the Roethlisberger thing.
Here, you want Ben Roethlisberger? They're the same age basically.
Well, no, Rodgers about 4 years younger.
4 years?
Yeah,
I
4
thought
or
Rodgers
5.
was like 37.
No, he's like 36
Okay,
or
I'm
30.
Googling this. Start talking while I'm Googling. 'Cause
Start
I don't believe
talking
that.
while I'm Googling.
Yeah, start talking. I mean, we got to keep the show going.
The Google effect of the world, guys. What do you want to talk about? Just me to
Talk
me.
about Aaron Rodgers. He's 37 years old.
So I will tell you actually.
So I was right.
Wow.
He's 37 years old. He will be 38 December 2nd.
We need like a scoreboard on the board over here.
Yeah, the only difference is that you won when it mattered because now I had to buy whiskey a couple weeks in a row.
Take it when you can.
I mean, so wait, let's talk about the whiskey thing because it was my week last week.
So you got a month.
This would have been your week.
Yep.
Next week would have been my week.
Yep.
Does that mean that I need to buy it?
Next week is not part of the bet. You have to win the following week is the last part of the bet.
So I literally have to bring like
one whole
4
month.
weeks in a row.
1 month.
Wow. I didn't think that bet through when I made that bet. I just thought the next 2 shows I was bringing the whiskey. I think it should be the next 2 shows, whether it was my turn or your turn or whatever.
No, what's the point of that then?
Oh, I don't know.
What's the point? Then
That's
it would have been a one.
It's one more bottle.
It would have
I
been
already bought the one for next week, so it's one more bottle.
It would have been a one-off.
By the way, tune in next week because it's going to be extremely painful for us.
Yeah, I've already seen the bottle.
Good.
I know the bottle. I'm not going to say it yet.
I bought one nice bottle and one crappy bottle. It's not Wild Turkey, though.
And he kept the tin cup.
I did keep the tin cup. That is not yours. I paid for it.
I won the bet.
I don't care.
Whiskey's supposed to be mine.
So, if Aaron Rodgers were to get traded, where would you least likely want him to go?
See, my division well, let's go with this because Baker's been okay with the Browns. I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers on the Browns.
Ooh.
With all the weapons they have. I don't want to see him there.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I could see that being dangerous if he were to. I don't think the Browns would do it.
They won't do it. They don't have enough money. They don't have the money.
They don't have the money, and then I'm just saying, take money out of it, though. I don't think they would trade the potential of Baker and how young he is.
You sure about that? The Browns haven't really won. You sure?
He made it just as far as Aaron did last year.
Aaron's proven himself, though.
I'm just
Baker
saying,
had the year prior.
I don't think that they're going to trade a 25-year-old quarterback for a 37-year-old quarterback unless there's some extreme draft picks involved, right?
Probably not, but I don't want to see that happen because I'd much rather play Baker than I would.
No, I understand why you don't want it to happen. I just don't see it happening, right?
No interest in paying Rodgers twice a year. No interest.
I would say I mean, obviously, it's easy for me. I don't want to go anywhere in my division, right? All 3 of my division rivals probably would want him, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I would say for just overall, where he could screw us over the most, it would probably be like San Francisco. And that's a Bay Area thing. I think
that's where he wanted to go.
Yeah, I would least like to see him go to San Francisco, to be honest with you. Now, where would you most likely want him to go?
You're going to hate me. San Francisco.
San Francisco. Okay.
I just want to see him in that setting.
I thought you were going to say the Eagles because but they don't have any weapons. Like I wouldn't be too scared if you went to the Eagles.
No, San Francisco, just to see him with those weapons in that offense.
I personally think Carson Wentz is a decent quarterback.
Yeah.
And he looked like trash last year in Philadelphia.
That was all Philly.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. You said Aaron Rodgers there. It ain't going to be much better. I don't think the drop-off between Carson and Aaron's that much, right? So I just don't see it being like next level. I think that's
pretty steep.
We'll find out. We'll see how Carson does in Indy, right?
I think he's going to be scary to go to Indy, if you want my honest opinion.
Right. I think he's a great quarterback.
Especially getting reunited with
I'm
Frank
super
Reich.
happy to get him out of my division. I was like, thank you.
I say, especially with Frank Reich as head coach again.
How does that GM still have a job? You got rid of the coach that won a Super Bowl because of Carson Wentz. Then you trade Carson Wentz to the Colts.
Owner and the GM are just dumb.
And then you hire a coach who can't even talk. He's a bumbling idiot.
He had to be the worst interview of the
worst interview. Dan Campbell, best interview. That dude, worst interview. I've never seen an interview.
Who was the Texans one?
Oh, I didn't watch that interview.
Because he bumbled too. If you remember the Texans guy?
Yeah.
The Texans' new coach, he literally went into the interview. He had an interview on the radio prior to his actual formal interview. And he made a joke about Deshaun Watson not being on the team and said anything could happen. And the guy said, "Oh, that sounds like you're going to move on from Deshaun Watson. And then he goes out on his actual interview or his press conference and says, Deshaun Watson is our quarterback next year. We will not be moving him. Well, you're backtracking now, man.
Well, that's another bet that I bet if Deshaun Watson is on the team, that they will be a better team than I think the Jets?
The Jets, yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to win that bet. What was
I don't even remember what we bet on.
What was the repercussion of that?
Did we bet anything on that?
That was in the Dave episode, so we're going to have to go back and listen to that. But I do remember that, and I will win that bet. The Texans will win more games than the Jets this year.
That is not happening.
It's totally happening.
It is not
100% happening.
The Texans literally just had a horrible draft. And the only scapegoat you had is if Deshaun Watson doesn't play this year.
Well, but I have a contingency of if Deshaun Watson doesn't play for the Texans, the bet's off.
That's what I said. That's the only safe.
No, if Deshaun Watson plays, they are going to win more games than the Jets.
They're not.
They will.
They are not.
Well, agree to disagree. We will find out.
He lost Will Fuller this year. He lost all of his receivers. Didn't draft a receiver. They drafted a quarterback. David Mills, I talked about for the Steelers. They drafted him in Houston.
I would say going back to our topic, my favorite destination for Aaron Rodgers, just for giggles, right? Just because I think it would be so entertaining.
Oh, jeez.
Is the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And they have the money. They have they could trade Mac Jones. They could trade Cam Newton. They could trade draft picks. They could do whatever they want to do, right?
Yeah, but this whole thing started because the Packers love Jordan Love. They wanted to draft Jordan Love in that first round.
I don't blame Aaron for wanting out. I'm just saying that if the Packers let him out, it's just the dumbest move ever.
Yeah.
Jordan Love is not ready to be an NFL quarterback.
Nope. He may not be ready next year.
At least not an Aaron Rodgers level NFL quarterback.
Not a starter. Maybe a backup. Maybe fill in.
Maybe we'll be wrong, but that's just my opinion.
Maybe.
Kids Corner.
Kids Corner. Ooh, I went first last week. I think we'll go with you this time.
I'll go first. Mine is, I guess it's somewhat entertaining, but more of like a proud dad moment. Mm-hmm. So obviously I coach Roman's soccer team. We're in the middle of a game. By the way, first win in the season. We won 4-1. The last game, I only had 5 players to play. So I didn't even have enough players to field a team, right? Because we had 2 players out of town. And then I had another player that was sick the day of the game, so he couldn't play. So I couldn't even field a team. So I was playing with 5 players. So that's not on me. First game, I had COVID. So I couldn't coach. So my assistant coach coached the game. So it's his fault that we lost. So this was my first real game with most of my team. I was only missing 1 player.
It's not my fault. It's his fault.
Yeah, it's his fault. He lost the game. Okay.
I wasn't there. Don't blame me.
Dude, they didn't even score any goals. Okay. He said they lost 2-0. Okay. Even with 5 players, we scored 3 goals. Okay. So I'm just throwing that out there, okay?
Screw defense. Let's go after the goals.
Look, I'm not. I like the guy. Super cool guy. I'm glad he's my assistant coach. I didn't have an assistant coach last year, but you got to have the head coach to win games, right? Like, you can't win games without Bill Belichick, okay? So anyway, I'm in there. We're in the game. We're dominating this game. I'm pumped up. We're having a good game, moving people around, having fun, and my son almost scored his first goal.
Okay.
This is his second season of soccer. He's never scored a goal. He literally came 6 inches away from scoring. He nicked the edge of the 1 post. So I was kind of bummed for him on that. But he was playing defense, and this other team had one kid that, there's no way he's under 8 years old. We're in the U8 division. This kid is probably 10 years old. He was their one good player. We had to shut that guy down. Well, he just he got kind of trapped, and he just kicked the ball as hard as he could, and it whacked Roman right in the face. Just bam, right in the face, right? Pow, right in the kisser, right? And Roman and then you could see he wanted to cry. He was standing there, and he's just because the ball went out of bounds off of his face, and he wanted to cry. And he did. He just was he getting mad almost. You could tell he was just I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to cry. Not in front of all these people. There's no way in hell. So he didn't cry, which is great. I love the fact that he didn't cry. But then I was I had 1 sub. I'm supposed to have 2 subs. I was missing 1 player. I had 1 sub. So I'm like, Roman, you want to sit down? And he's like, no. And he stayed in the game, whacked in the face super hard with the ball. Didn't cry, stayed in the game. I was super proud of my son. Way to take a ball to the head, kid.
Very nice, Roman.
Yes.
Very nice.
I'm proud of him. He
Very
did good.
nice. So mine's gonna be a proud one. I could have went many routes here. We started T-ball, as you already know.
Yeah,
His
I
two
saw the
games.
hip grinding thing. What was he doing? Hang on. We got video.
Get the hips into it. The stretching.
Yeah, he was doing this. I was like, what the heck is he doing?
That's supposed to be stretching your knees.
I think he's practicing for high school, if you ask me.
Oh, jeez. He's getting his dance moves on. Nonetheless, so we're going to stick with Grayson, though. And we talked last week about him and his people, his followers.
His followers, yep.
You have seen the video. Maybe I'll release it at some point this week. Followed up that photo for his people with getting good old dad here to make a full-on video of Godzilla versus King Kong, where he dressed 100% Godzilla with his little costume and did a full-on movie with dad, full voices and everything.
It was like 3 minutes long, roughly, and mad props to your wife who changed the vocals in the video.
Yeah, she got everything.
When you did the roar, it sounded like a roar.
Yep.
It was a really cool little video. I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome. The only thing I caution you on after seeing that is, like, I know he wants to do his peoples and his thing. Grayson being a childhood star would be like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think he can probably do it because he's that entertaining, but like, do you really want that in your life? Do you want Ryan's toy in your life?
No, but I also want Grayson to do the things he wants to do. If he wants to show that stuff, and really, I want to show it just more so for the family, not for his people. Sorry, his people, but for the family and the friends to see it, because honestly, that creativity from him, and he's not just that way. He makes pictures for everybody. I think he made a picture for you.
He did make a picture for me.
He makes pictures for everybody. Like today, he literally 20 minutes before we had to go to preschool today, Dad, I got to make a picture for my teachers. It's Teachers Week. And he literally went in his little room and drew a picture for every one of his teachers.
Very cool.
And then he came home, and it's Mother's Day this weekend, upcoming weekend. Dad, I got to make a Mother's Day picture for Mom. So he drew a picture of my wife, Sam, and him with her holding his hand and 2 hearts. And then he wrote his name at the top.
It's adorable.
Yeah. So I'm going to give him all the love in terms of his big heart and his creativity that he does every day. I do want to shoot one more Kids Corner, though, because it's Oliver.
All right.
You haven't met him yet. Eventually you will. He's nuts. Absolutely nuts. We realized you've seen his dance move doing the ollie.
Yep.
Doing the ollie. Okay, so we realized, you ever seen the movie Rio?
Yes, with the birds.
Yep.
The blue macaws or whatever they are.
That's it. So the very beginning scene is all the birds in the jungle dancing and singing. So he starts doing his dance moves. Me and my wife, Ollie's dancing. He wants to dance to this first movie. Then randomly we watch his eyes as he starts to lift his arms and spin in circles. As he was dancing, he was following with his eyes, and he was copying what they were doing on the movie with the birds. So if they were flapping around with their hands in the air, he was doing that. If they shook their butt, he shook his butt. I just watched him like, dude, you got some dance fever in you, kid. But nonetheless, both sweet comments, not really comedy, but just...
Well, the Grayson stuff will 100% be comedy if it gets released. Like if he starts releasing a bunch of stuff.
I don't want him to do that. Maybe he will, but I don't want him to do that. But I do want him to have fun with it.
I feel like when we were growing up, all those like childhood stars like all became disaster. Macaulay Culkin, pretty much disaster. I mean, he's still successful.
He fixed himself up now, though. He's
but he definitely went off the rails there.
He definitely for a little bit.
Lindsay Lohan off the rails.
Oh,
Britney Spears off the rails. Like 70% of them off the rails, right? Goldberg off the rails, right? And I feel like now it's going to be the YouTube stars are going to be the ones that are going to be like the ridiculous amount of money that Ryan's toy kid makes.
Right.
He's going to be just a disaster as an adult.
I have to tell you, my son's been watching a new one on YouTube. Hobby something. Please don't.
Well, what's the one of that weird dude that like all he watches?
Blippi.
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 I legit was in the zone watching Blippi when we were in Columbus. Like it's like addicting. You're like, oh my God, look at that block.
He says the most normal stuff and it just comes across as...
it's just like, it's hypnotizing.
It very much is. I don't get it, but it is what it is.
Well, we got great families. We're going to cheers with one
Cheers.
more shot of Tincup.
Woo!
I'm going to feel that tomorrow when I play basketball.
That one's actually pretty good. I actually really like that.
It's good.
Thanks, Tincup.
Thanks, Tincup. We'll tag you in all of our crap, and you won't respond to us like
everybody else.
All the whiskey companies.
We just call it all you guys out.
Deuces, everybody. We'll see you next
Peace.
week. We won't have Laura Jack, even though she said she's going to be here. So,
Laura.
calling you out, Laura. Sayonara.